Fox 4's Briana Brownlee was the first on scene.
In an exclusive sit-down interview, Major Jason Fields speaks with Fox 4's Briana Brownlee.
And Ali's family is speaking to our Fox 4's Briana Brownlee exclusively.
And Fox 4's Briana Brownlee has been in talks with the family for the past couple of days. She joins us live.
As that woman's father was found murdered here in this driveway in the back of a car that Saturday morning. And to add context, I want you to follow me over here so you can see this mailbox that what appears to have multiple bullet holes. For those of you who have not filled up on gas, I do want to show you something. As you can see this yellow bag. You're going to see them around town. This gas station is out of gas. If you come out here, you might find a shovel and you might also still find some sand. However, what you won't find are bags. As you can see, this road is looking like a lake. This morning, they saw a car coming and driving down this walkway. Let me show you exactly what I mean. If you take a look, you can see where her house is taped off. Her garage is boarded up. They have been bombarded with complaints about this apartment complex. Fort Myers Mayor Kevin Anderson read me a letter of employees asking for City Manager Marty Lawwing to lose his job. This corn represents some people's livelihoods. Business owners tell me that they aren't happy, and it's mainly because of the 2-hour parking. This Florida speed bump, the Burmese python, is now the longest python ever caught in the world.
When the first week I was there, it didn't have much of an issue, but then like maybe a month or two later, that's when everything started to go downhill.
This 18-year-old former customer of the hotel did not want to risk her safety by going on camera, so we're going to refer to her as Jane. A homeless advocate who partners with Fort Myers Police introduced us to Jane as a former customer of the hotel. Jane said her mom and her stayed here for a few months when they couldn't afford the rising cost of rent.
It's a lot of negative things, violence, people have guns and stuff, not respecting the hotel policies, not caring about the hotel policies, and there's a lot of the times it ends with cops.
Some of the things Jane claims to have seen showed up in 5 years of calls for service records we obtained via an open records request from Fort Myers Police. The thing is, those calls for service are climbing in 2022. Fort Myers Lieutenant Robert Curbs had this to say about the Travelodge.
When you have these lower rates, you may bring in some people that may engage in illegal activities and they need a place to stay.
In the records FMPD supplied, the calls for service at the Travelodge during the May to July off-season have increased. As you can see on your screen, the calls for trespassing alone nearly doubled. Not only does activity require more police resources, but the homeless advocate we spoke with, Ramona Miller, agreed it puts a lot of people at risk.
The homeless are not just the people that are in the parks. The homeless are those that are experiencing, evictions, that have gone through evictions. There are those that have been couch surfing.
The hotel declined to comment or do an interview, but FMPD says hotel management is working with them, saying they've hired on-site security and updated their security systems, including 32 new high-definition cameras, push-bar alarms to stop propping open back doors, and increased parking lot lighting to stop drug sales.
So we're doing the best that we can with them. They've taken measures to remove their hotels from sites that advertise these super low rates. They're looking at raising their rates.
This area of Piccadilly Circus in Naples is considered ground zero by Collier County Sheriff deputies when it comes to the case of Margaret Ann Galloway, the 80-year-old woman with Alzheimer's who was missing for nearly a week. Her rescue coming from a blurry image, and now we are hearing from the detective who caught the glimpse.
By far, this is the most memorable and will be likely for the rest of my career.
It was a moment in a blurry image he didn't miss, and a moment that Detective Michael Nudie will remember for the rest of his life. As an officer for 13 years, he's worked several missing person cases, but never solved one like this. The search for 80-year-old Margaret Galloway quickly consuming Southwest Florida after the nonverbal 80-year-old with Alzheimer's was caught on camera walking away from her home on her neighbor's security video. 6 long days of searching by air, on land, and in water, but
we did 6 days of searching without anything.
This video, the only clue.
After that, she was never seen again on camera.
Taken in the area of Piccadilly Circus.
I was convinced that was ground zero. That's where whatever had happened or wherever she had disappeared, had to be in this area.
Leaning on old school police training, Detective Nudie and his partners knocked on doors until they came across another video from a neighbor who was out of town. Detective Nudie wanting to see their security footage for himself for clues that a non-trained eye wouldn't see. At first, he said nothing turned up, but as he was about to leave,
I asked, do you have any more cameras that I didn't see?
that one question leading to the one break in the case, in one single snapshot of Ring video taken every 6 minutes. Detective Nudie thought he saw a ghost.
A white figure, you couldn't tell if it even was a person or what it was, but my stomach dropped. And I said, we have something.
It was 80-year-old Margaret.
And I knew the minute we opened that door, I'm like, this is gonna be it.
Lying in her neighbor's garage.
Everything you've thought of over the past 6 days just went through your mind in 1 second.
And for the best surprise is when he says they found her alive.
I knew what it was. I knew by the knock.
It was the knock Margaret's family were waiting to hear for nearly a week, and on the other side of the door was Detective Nudie with the good news.
Emotional thing for me was that initial reuniting of the family.
And not only was Margaret alive, but for the first time in months, Margaret spoke.
He knelt down and just said, Margaret, and she opened her eyes, and she said, yes. We haven't heard her say yes in a long time. And he said, are you married to Michael Galloway? And she said, yes. She hasn't spoken in as long as I can remember.
These cases are important. I mean, you're dealing with somebody's loved one, and there's nothing more important than that.
When speaking to the neighbor whose camera captured Margaret going into the garage, she tells me this is just a miracle because she just installed that camera about a month ago. Reporting from Naples, Briana Brownlee, Fox 4.